Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Think about the size of your email list being double, triple, quadruple, 10 times that size. I want you to think about the number of people who know about your business multiplying. I want you to think about when you have your events, the number of people who show up for that multiplying. I want you to think about your business being a household name. You can have that. Everything can change. Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. Now, I heard this statement originally from Grant Cardone, and he said the biggest business problem that you have right now is obscurity. This is the biggest problem that your business has, that people don't know you. People who would love to use your product, love to use your service, love to come to your private practice, all of that, just do not know that you exist. And that means that this is one of the things that you need to solve in your business, whether you are on your way to your first million or you're multiple 7 figures along. This is a problem. This is one of the biggest jobs you have as a CEO, is the visibility of your brand, expanding the visibility of your brand. And we're going to talk about how to 10x that today. Okay. So I've been doing this whole revenue boost series. We have looked at how to reverse engineer your goals. We have looked at, how to stop being ashamed of selling. And today we're going to look at how to 10x your brand visibility. But this is so important. If you find that, you don't like the revenue you're bringing in, chances are we need to look at obscurity. If you're, you have a private practice and your panel is not full, chances are we need to look at that obscurity. If you are somebody who you've been selling, you've been doing the work, you've been making offers, but your results are getting less and less and less, chances are you're not bringing new people into your world. So you're making the same offers to the same exact people. So the law of diminishing return has set in, right? And the beautiful thing about obscurity, I'll tell you my favorite thing about fixing obscurity. My favorite thing about it is that visibility creates for you opportunities that you could not have anticipated. Okay. So for instance, if I look at the doctors in the EntreMD Business School, there are a number of them who have had big breaks in their business. So we have many of them who people have reached out for board positions or to be advisors to companies. And these are paid opportunities. We have many people who've been invited to speak on really big stages because of this. We have had people who had doctors move across the country to work with them because of their brand. They're like, I see you. I want to come work with you. Right. And this is in a time when people are like, I can't find someone to work with me. And other people are reaching out to them. We've had people who just based on the brand they built and the demand for their message and all of that, they were able to do multiple 6-figure launches with the course. They just decide, hey, let me just do this. Right. It's been so It's so mind blowing what this can do. So will it change your current business now? Yes. Will it create opportunities you could never have anticipated? Absolutely. Right. And so I love visibility. Okay. So let's talk about it. Right. There are a number of things you can do. Now, the magic of this is going to be in the execution of them. Okay. So as you listen to them, don't say, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. The question you need to ask yourself is, am I doing that? And I'm going to give you a pro tip at the end, how to prioritize these things, but ask yourself, am I doing them? Am I doing them? Am I doing them? This is a question to ask. Okay. So I'm going to give you 5 things here. There are more, but I'll give you 5. The first thing is building a referral base. Okay. What is obscurity? People don't know you're there. Okay. When you build a referral base, and when I talk about a referral base, I'm talking about somebody who has access to your people. So as a pediatrician, OBGYNs have access to my people. They don't serve them the same way I serve them, but they have them. And so what that means is when I get one OBGYN to say, oh my goodness, I'm going to send my people to Dr. Una, that translates to hundreds, potentially thousands of patients. Do you see what I mean? Where one relationship built, just one, can have a dramatic, impact on your business. We had a doctor in the MD Business School, Dr. Golden, big shout out to her, who did this, right? And started working this referral base. There was a particular referral source that it took her 11 months. She went there for 11 months before she was able to get through the door, to have a, meet and greet with the docs and presentation with them and all of that. And she got 42 new referral sources. Like there were 42 clinicians in that practice who are looking for what she did, who are amazed by her, who are like, I'm going to send you people. She's getting multiple referrals every single day from them, from that one relationship. Building that referral base is powerful. It will change everything for you. Okay. So the first one is building a referral base. This is something that, of course, you may say it's a little nerve-wracking going to talk to people. It may take a longer time because it may take you a minute to get in, but it is so worth it. Like if you could spend 11 months following up with somebody and at the end of the day, you're getting the equivalent of daily referrals from them. Would you do it? The answer is yes. Like all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Of course I would. Right? But that's what can happen with building a referral source. So what do they do? Because of their reach, right? The reach of one of them, they can grow the number of people who know you exponentially, right? And so they're helping to cure your obscurity, like in a big way. So referrals are huge. It's worth the work. It's worth the discomfort. It's worth all of that. The second one is networking. Okay. It's networking. And, my introverts are like, oh my goodness. Okay. If you're an introvert and you said, oh my goodness, there is a podcast episode called Dear Introvert. Okay. I recorded that just for you. Okay. So go listen to that one. Okay. All right. For networking, right? Again, you want to network in places where your referral sources are. You want to network in the place where your ideal patients, your ideal clients are. You want to network in places where, people who can open doors for you for maybe speaking opportunities, where your ideal clients or your ideal patients are. Like think of it in those terms, right? You want to show up in those places and you want to engage, right? So you want to show up. You want to introduce yourself. You want to be interested and interesting. Okay, I'll explain what I mean by that. So you show up in a place like that. You want to talk to people. Most people are tuned into this radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? They're thinking about themselves all the time. So when you meet them, talk about them. Be interested in them, right? So ask them about them. Ask them about what they do. Ask them why they're at the events, what they hope to get out of it, and all of those things. How you could support them. Who would be a great referral for them, right? And then then you tell them about you. This is who I am. This is what I do, and all of those kind of things. But you lead with serving them, right? It's a give and take. You give first and then you take. You give first and then you take. But you want to network. You never know. You never know who's in the room. You never know who they know. You never know what their expertise is. You just don't know. And if you get one person who can put you on the stage, I did a podcast interview with a doc, and so I was a guest on her podcast. And when we were done, she was like, I really like what we talked about here. I do workshops for my community, and I would love to have you on as a guest. We have about 11,000 doctors that we would send this email to tell about this workshop. Now, Maybe out of those 11,000, maybe 500 of them or 1,000 know who I am. But what does that mean? That means I just got put in front of 10,000 new people. Do you see what I mean? So networking is so powerful, and it's something that if you use systematically, every single month, your obscurity is getting less and less. Your visibility is getting more and more people find out about you, which means they can know, like, and trust you, which means they can choose to work with you, which means you can have a bigger impact and you can create more revenue. The third theme is one of my favorite, is guesting, right? Whether that's you being a guest on a podcast, on the YouTube channel, somebody's IG live, Facebook live, any of those things. Guesting is magical because it does two things for you. One is that it puts you in front of new people, so whoever their audience is, and it gives you more of a know, like, and trust factor with whoever you're being a guest for, right? Like it's two for the price of one. It's just wonderful. But think of it this way. I talk to physicians. I talk to physician entrepreneurs. There are other people who have gathered physicians, but they don't quite do the same thing. So maybe they do life coaching for them. Maybe they do tax planning for them. Maybe they do bookkeeping for them. Maybe they do weight loss for them. They're different things. There's so many people who serve physicians, and they don't serve them the way I serve them. So my job is to then go on a podcast tour, a YouTube tour, or whatever, and I'm being a guest on all of their platforms, because for each one, if they have audiences of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, for each of those ones, right? I now have thousands of people potentially who find out about me who didn't know about me before. So what am I doing? Expanding, like massively expanding my visibility. The guesting could also be, if you're a coach, being a guest coach in somebody else's community, which is also really powerful because they get used to see what you do. And they may never work with you, but maybe they work with you, maybe they don't, but now they know about you. Some will work with you. Some will tell others about you. Some will create opportunities for you. Like, guesting is wonderful. That's you being in front of them. Okay. But this also means that this is a lot of asking, right? You're going to have to ask for those spots. You're going to have to pitch. In the beginning, when you start doing this, it'll be harder, but the more you do it, the more people find out you do it, the more people will ask, and the less you will have to ask, right? But you have to ask a lot to get to that point. The fourth thing is speaking at events. One of my favorites. Again, you're speaking at events where your ideal clients are, your ideal patients are, your ideal referral sources are. They get to experience you. They get to experience your genius. They get to see your heart for people. They get to see the results you've created for others. They get to hear your wisdom, your philosophies, and all of that stuff, right? And these people in the audience now come into your world. They didn't know about you before, right? There's always a large percentage of them that didn't know about you before, but now they know about you. And this is absolutely amazing. Okay. So speaking at events, and you might say, oh my goodness, Dr. Una, I'm so scared of speaking and all of that stuff. Again, this is a learnable skill. Okay. There was a time you could not run a code. There was a time you could not replace a heart. There was a time you could not intubate a 2-pound baby, but you learned all these things. Okay. And you can learn this too. But speaking will radically change your business. There are so many people in the Entrepreneur Business School when I'm like, how did you find out about us? I heard you speak at an event. And then I came and I listened to your podcast, and you asked, made an offer for us to join the school, and I joined the school. There are many of them that an event is the first way that they found about us. When I first started my private practice, I used to go for baby showers that were organized by insurance companies and all these things. I would go there and speak, and people will find out about us. And when they have their baby, they come to us, right? Like, speaking is wonderful. And the thing about speaking is, and when I say this, I'm just trying to make a point here. Even if you're not the smartest, you're not the best at what you do, the speaker is the best. That's the perception that people have. The speaker is the expert. That's why they're a speaker. The speaker is, is the one to go with. The speaker is the best option. You know what I mean? And so you position yourself that way, but it does wonders for your visibility. So I want you to think about the 4 things we've talked about, right? Referrals massively increases because you're talking to one person who has a ton of your people. Networking, the same thing. Being a guest, it puts you in front of so many audiences. Speaking at events, again, puts you in front of so many people. And it does not matter what kind of business you run. This works. This works. There was a software as a service company, a SaaS company that I was looking at, and their whole strategy from going from nothing to almost 4 million by year 2, their whole strategy was being a guest on a podcast once a week. They did not have a podcast. They were guests on other people's podcasts, other people who talked to their ideal people. And they did a guest spot every single week. every single week for 2 years. And it landed them at massive visibility and 4 million in revenue. Who's mad about that? Nobody. Okay. All right. Now, the fifth thing is ads. Okay. So you can do ads. I made it number 5 because the better your organic efforts are, the better your ads will do. The more organic you do, the more you understand the language that resonates with your people, the true pain that they have, and all of that. So sometimes people want to skip all of that and just jump to ads. And I'm like, do the organic and do the ads, right? And that way, if, for some reason, for some algorithm, or they shut down your account or whatever, you have all these other levers you can pull, and it doesn't decimate your business, because there are people who their only strategy was ads. I saw this with tens of companies. Their only strategy was ads. And so after the whole iOS thing happened and they limited the amount of tracking and all of that, their businesses crumbled. Like 7-figure businesses disappeared because they had only one strategy. All right. So 1 is a dangerous number in business. Okay. So let me give you 2 pro tips here. Okay. With this, 2 pro tips. Number 1, if you've been in business for a while, I want you to sit down and audit, like actually look at the numbers. Don't estimate, like get data, get some data. It does, like, get data. The clients and the patients that I do have, how are 80% of them finding me? This is a $1 million question. Write it down. How did 80% of my current clients find me? Why is this important? Because that automatically becomes a 20% activity, becomes something where you're like, oh, this is what is working magically for us. Let us pour gasoline on the fire. Okay, let's go all in on this thing that is working so well, right? Do more of what is working and less of what is not. Now, that doesn't mean you don't look at opportunities, right? To then do new things and all of that. You look for that, but you must find what is working so well that it has given you 80% of your clients, and pour gasoline on the fire. I ask this question because so many times when I'm talking to individuals and I ask this question, it dawns on them, 1, they've never looked at that. And 2, they've been spending most of their effort on the things that work the least. And the thing that does work, they're not optimizing it. They're not doing it better. They're not doing it more. They're not, because they don't even know that that's the thing that's working. So my first pro tip is find out what's working and do more of that. My second pro tip is leverage your team. Again, many people have a bunch of team members, right? But when it comes to these visibility things, they're doing every single thing by themselves. You get your team on board. Get your team doing this too. If you are a physician running a private practice and you're bringing in new people, consider adding some of these things as part of what they do. Now, you're going to give them the time for it and all of that, but part of what they do, right? So what if you were building your referral base and they were building their referral base? What if you were being a guest? You were speaking at events and doing that, and they were doing that too. Think about the ripple effect. Think about the exponential growth if they were also being a part of the visibility, right? If you have like an executive assistant or VA and stuff like that, they could pitch you on podcasts, or they can pitch you, at local events and all of that. So you're not doing that. Leverage your team to 10x your visibility. Don't try to do it all on your own. Okay. So those are my pro tips for you. So this is part of the Revenue Boost Challenge. And the reason we're doing that is because at EntreMD, we have an agenda, and our agenda is to help 100 doctors cross 100,000 in revenue, 75 doctors cross $500,000 in revenue, 50 doctors cross $1 million in revenue, and 25 doctors add an extra $1 million to their business that's already crossed the 7-figure mark, right? This is what we want to do. So we're going to support in every way we can. And one of the ways we're doing that is with a workshop that we offer that is called the Revenue Boost Challenge. Okay. So I want you to go save your seat. I want you to get ready for it. We are going to do these challenges in real time. We are going to do the important activities that create the movement that we want to see in our businesses, that help us cross these milestones. Okay. So save your spot, revenueboostchallenge.com, and make sure to share this link with the doctors in your world and say, hey, Dr. Una has an agenda. We want to be a part of the agenda. So go save your seat. Okay. I want you to think about this. Okay. I want you to walk away with this thought, because I've given you 5 things that you can go start doing right away with your team. You can look at the one that's working the best, so you know the one to go all in on, right? And I want you to think about your visibility. Think about the size of your email list being double, triple, quadruple, 10 times that size. I want you to think about the number of people who know about your business multiplying. I want you to think about the number of people, right? Like when you have your events, the number of people who show up for that multiplying. I want you to think about your business being a household name. Think about that. You can have that If you'll build a referral base, if you'll network, if you'll guest, if you'll speak, if you'll run those ads, everything can change. Everything can change. And where your business is right now, it doesn't have to stay there. It's subject to change. So I'm rooting for you. Go do the work. Go save your spots for the Revenue Boost Challenge. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Entre MD Podcast.